Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Sneha.
Hi, Sneha.
Yeah, so today we'll see some of the logical programs and increment and decrement operator, how it works. Because in the last quiz, you had one question related to that. I didn't explain it. So we'll see a few of the snippets today on that. And also we'll see about the type reference and typecasting for normal primitive data types as well as to your objects. So this will be the agenda for the day. And who's going to share the screen?
Yeah,
Sneha,
I'll do it.
the program which I asked.
Okay, yeah. So first we'll continue with the program. Janaki, post that you can share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, Divya, you can share your screen.
Post disabled participant screen share.
Yeah, now you can try. I enabled it.
This is the program for sum of 10 natural numbers, Sneha.
Okay. Yeah, this is pretty good. Clean. Using for loop I asked, and this is okay.
This works fine.
Okay. Okay.
This is the one where we have to get the input from the user.
Mm-hmm.
From the input, we have to give the output as a number of positive integers, number of negative integers, and number of zeros
Zero.
in the
Yeah.
input.
So I have a question here. Why did you take array here?
I have taken arrays, Neha.
Yeah, why did you go with array? Because you're going to fetch input from user. User can have any number of times he can give input, right? You can't restrict the user to have only 5 attempts unless you have a predefined condition. So
No,
how
first
would
I
fetch?
tried like that only, but it didn't work. So I
Okay.
changed.
Okay. Can you open your code once? Yeah. Can you scroll down? So else if number of I greater than 0, positive increment. So the code snippet is correct, what we are trying to do. But the way you received your input can be changed using the do while attribute. So what happens for do while is he has a free entry for the first time, and post that you will be asking an entry like whether you want to continue or not, because the question is like till the user enters the input. So if you want to continue, you have to pass the respective key, and post that you have to take the next input and consume all the inputs and then make a sum of it. Means categorize them into the positive, negative, and zeros. So what you can do now is instead of for, you can create one more new program.
What is the wrong in this? What is wrong in this?
No, wrong. There's nothing wrong, because the first thing is, you as per your question, you need to consume input from the user.
Yes.
Right. What you're doing is whatever user is giving, you're taking it and putting it in your array, right?
Okay.
But the question is, how long does the user continue? Like you are giving only 5 attempts, not more than that. You're restricting the content. Whereas we are going to give a freedom choice to the user that he can enter any time of inputs unless he proceeds with that option.
Okay. First,
that
I
is the
used
change.
okay. First, I was having a program like how many input you have to give. You wanted to give. Then if it's 5, so I will make the array length as 5 and initializing the array with int of 5 and then proceeding the program.
Okay.
So that
no, if you see the question, just a moment, let me open the question.
Okay, Sneha, I understand.
No, write a program to enter till the user wants, and the end it should display, right? So you can't create an array concept here, because the user can enter only 2 times, or he can enter only 1 time, but we never knew why he wants to enter how many times. That is something which is unpredictable. So in that case, what you can do is you can consume all your because you're not going to display the numbers which you entered. You're going to just display the count of positive and negative. So what happens every time you receive an input, you can just evaluate it whether that input is a positive, negative, or zero, and then increment the respective count values of them and not the number. If there was a question that you have to display the number of inputs given by the user, then if you go with the array, that is the right scenario. But in our case, we are not going to consume the input. We are going to just evaluate whether that falls into positive, negative, and zero.
Okay, to evaluate, we have to put that into an array, right?
No, you can just have it as an int. You don't need to consume it in array. So what you can do is we can just tweak this program a little. Just comment out your for loop, entire code which you have.
Okay, Sneha, one minute.
Mhm.
Apart from that, concept wise,
Mhm.
if I'm giving this as a length as array length as 5 itself, here it is not going to the next line. Here the for loop is not getting finished. Shall I show you?
Yeah, yeah.
So it is asking to enter the input.
Mhm.
I have given as 5, okay?
Okay.
So I'm just giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mhm.
Next also it is I'm giving enter only.
Okay.
But if I give 6, it throws an exception. But it is
Yeah.
not going to the next the next code flow.
Yeah, because in your first for loop, you're just consuming and you're not using that input, right? You have to do your logic within that loop only. Why did you create one other for loop there? You don't need another for loop. What you can do is, the first why you're getting array index out of bound is you have given length less than or equal to 5.
Okay.
So, and you're trying to give one more count, then the total length becomes 6. So that is the reason you're getting array index out of bound. The second thing is, once you consume your input in your initial for loop, you can have your logic.
No, I have given 6 to find out whether the next what flow it goes, because till 5 it has to accept. Okay, for loop int I is equal to 0 and I is less than or equal to 5. Input it is receiving.
No. The thing is, in your for loop, the 5 is just a length count, right? You're just taking 5 as your length count, and the user is entering the input, but the entering input is not happening within the loop; it is happening outside.
Okay.
So whenever the user enters the input, you're consuming it and keep it in number of I. So in your case, the I count will happen for 5 times, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when the 5 comes, right, it should accept. And the next case, when you're trying to give, there it becomes an exception because your condition criteria is less than or equal to 5. So it can't accept more than 5 array. So 0 to 5 is only acceptable. Now
the code will not progress.
Yeah. So what you can do is the logic, whichever you have written the separate for loop, right? That you can place it within that loop and you can do that. You can execute your logic. So within after getting your input and based on that input, you can evaluate it.
You are telling me to remove this?
Yes. Yeah. So instead of J, just have it, or you can just
replace
your for loop as J.
But it didn't work. That's why I changed.
Okay, let's try now.
Okay. Numbers I have. Okay.
I think you have to close one more loop. You have to close before sysout.
Here.
Yeah. And scroll little up. Where is your main function?
This one. No, Sneha, this is
your if condition
is
else
not
if
required,
else, and that is the for. Okay. Sorry, the indentation is the problem. Okay. No. Yeah, save it and then try.
Then also it is not going.
You're giving
so in this we need to use a do while loop, right?
Yeah. So just a moment, because you're not cutting that user with the inputs, right? You're not restricting. So what we can do is every time you consume that input and then post it in your array. Now, what happened? Next.
No, I just gave a control D.
Okay. Yeah. Now can you go to your program? Now, every time the user gives input dot next in, right, add it to your array.
Sorry, come again.
Take one by one input. So what you're trying to do is, after giving the input, as you have already defined the for loop of five, you're giving that input. But when you're trying to use that values in your array, right, it's not able to exit the flow of the scanner input, because your scanner is in a for loop. Your for loop breaks only when you break it, right? That is not breaking. So what you have to do is, after input dot next in, once your flow is done, you have to close that scanner part, and then you have to reuse your num_my.
Okay.
So what
So
happened is, basically your input
when-
scanner is not getting ended. That is the reason it's still accepting some inputs.
Yeah, Sneha. So we should not use for loop to get the user input.
So one thing about for loops, like while I was learning about loops somewhere, I learned that for loop is recommended only when you know the number of iteration beforehand itself.
Yeah.
In this case, you don't know how many times the user is going to give the input, right? So in those conditions, it's better to go with while or do while.
Yeah, that is right, Kirba. But the thing is, like, though she's using for loop, for her, the scanner is not getting ended. That is the issue here.
Yeah, because I
she's
didn't
getting
ask
the
the
input through a
user
scanner.
input. I am giving it as 5. That's
So instead of consuming it as one input, what she's doing is, she has predefined 5 is the total count, and she wants to consume it. But what is the problem is, the scanner is not getting ended. Why? Because that is within the for loop. So what you can do is, the input dot next in, whatever you're taking num of I, take that line and place it outside your for loop.
I think the issue is with the condition here, I less than or equal to 5. The array size is 5, but in the for loop, the
No,
condition
even
is
that for loop will not be required now if she takes the scanner value outside.
that's also fine. But here the condition, if she changes less than or equal to 2 less than, then I think it will work fine.
Less than or equal to?
In the for loop condition, int I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to 5, right? So the array size is 5, maximum it can accommodate from 0 to 4 index position. So that's the issue, I guess. If she changes the condition to I less than 5, I think it will work fine.
Okay, we'll try. Less than 5, and then recompile your program.
Can I keep this?
Yeah, you keep it. Yeah, we'll try his attempt, and then we'll go for the next.
For this, it won't allow for accepting 5. It will throw an exception. I tried that also.
No, you can give 5 inputs.
Yeah, I will see.
0 to 4, right? Index value. No, I think you're exceeding some of them.
So that was the reason, like array maximum size was 5, and she was trying to insert 6 characters.
Yeah, that numbers. Is like earlier one, right? Array index out of 4.
That was the earlier one.
Now, can you recompile your re-execute your program again, Divya? And give more than 5.
No, Sneha, if I print, if I give 5 and enter itself, the output is coming.
No, I'm asking you to give more than 5 input. Give one more.
No, that's what it is not accepting. Only 5 it is accepting.
Okay.
For loop condition will fail, right? After the 5th entry.
Sneha, how to give negative numbers over here? Like this?
Yeah, you can give just like that. Yeah.
Works fine. Thanks, Kirba.
Yeah. Kirba, did you complete this program? You tried it the same, or did you try in a different approach?
No, I didn't complete this one.
Okay.
Sneha?
Yeah.
How if I give I is less than or equal to 5, the scanner is not closing? Why it is not closing?
Because yeah, that is where the increment operator comes into picture. So let me complete that so you'll get an idea like why you're getting the array index out of bound exception.
So
Because
yeah,
you're getting the length defined, right? So the length is 5. The condition is less than or equal to something before, but the length which you're giving is 5. And as per your array, it will create only indexes from 0 to 4. And when you're giving the condition less than or equal to, it thinks like there's one more index available, but the array index will not have that index value. That is the reason you're getting the exception.
If we have used for loop from I equal to 1, then in that case we can use less than or equal to 5, right?
again it will throw out
No,
of
even if you
array.
initialize with anything, 0 or 1, your length which you're validating, that matters because that is the size of your array, right? If you go up, she has already defined the num of I as 5.
Oh, yes, because she has given less than or equal to 5. So it is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth value. It is expecting that for loop goes for the sixth
But as
time,
per
right?
your
So
index, you'll not have a 6th position in your array, right? You'll have only for 0 to
that's
4 or 1 to 5. That's it. You don't have a 6th position created in the array box. So that is the reason it's not able to progress further. It's throwing an exception. So whenever you're predefining the array value and you're trying to give an attempt more than that, then it gives you the array index out of bound exception. Okay. If we are good, maybe we can go with the increment and decrement operator post PN. So can someone share the screen? Either Kiriba, Janaki, whoever wishes, or can continue with Divya's screen. I'm fine.
I will share the screen.
Okay.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah, I'm good.
So I install STS.
Okay, cool. So Janaki, Divya, were you able to download STS or you have some trouble?
No, Sneha, I couldn't download.
Okay.
I have downloaded that exe file, Sneha, but I haven't installed it actually. I tried extracting that exe first time, but
Okay.
for that itself, I'm getting some error. So I think I downloaded the wrong version. So need to check.
Okay,
and
I'm
do
just pinging you a URL in the chat. Please open that and you will be able to see the previous versions of all your Spring. And in that, based on the Windows version, you can download the respective thing. And the latest one is 4.13. Don't download that. Go with 4.6 version. Download it 4.6.2 or 4.6.1. You should be getting that. Yeah, you can
think
go
I
with
downloaded
4.6.0
4.13.
also.
Is there
Something with
any issue?
4.6 and above. So what version you have installed, Kiriba?
I think it's 4.13.
4.13. Okay. Yeah, anything with 4 above is good, but Java 8 is also compatible with 4.6. So you can go with anything. So anything above 4.6 is preferable. Anything above 4 is also fine. It will not cause any issues. Only thing is like when you're trying with some other higher versions of Java, we get some issues on compiling. That's it. Compatibility issues might be there. That's it. But still you can execute your programs. So I just shared you the link. Download the exe file. And once you downloaded the exe file, just double click it and give next, and you should be able to install it. If you have, please download the file right now, and maybe before ending the class, we can set up the environment for STS for both Janaki and Divya. Yeah, and now Kiriba, can you just create one class for increment and decrement? You can have a separate package so that you don't need to mess it up with your code which you're working on. You can just have like core Java or something like that.
Core Java. Okay, I will keep December 17.
Okay.
No issue, right?
No issues. Yeah, no issues. Yeah.
Numbers
Always
in the
have it a
package.
small case. Yeah. Create one Java class with incdec. And you can just type main and give control space. So you should be able to get, no, just give main and give control space. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll see what increment and decrement is. So basically increment is it adds the value by +1. but there's a difference between pre-increment and post-increment. So let's say if int I equal to 10, right? You can just have that initialized, int I equal to 10. Okay. Now in sysout, just print I plus plus and plus plus I in the other system. Yeah. So if you're using STS, you can just give SOP, you will be able to get your sysout completely. The next one, print plus plus I. Can you execute this now? You don't need to compile, just give run. It should be fine. So if you see what happened to your I value is after I plus plus. So that is nothing but post increment. In your post increment, your value first gets assigned to I and the increment operation happens later. So in memory, the value is still defined as 10 only, but explicitly when you see, you think that I value has become 11. But when you use that in some places immediately, like making I plus plus, the value will still be with the what value you have given. When it's doing the second operation, right? When you're reusing that I attribute somewhere else, then what happens, the I value would have been incremented by 1 and you have got 11 as your input. Now, when you pre-increment it, that will immediately print your value to 12. So that only difference between post and pre is both will increment your value by 1. But in your post increment, the value will not get assigned initially. In your pre-increment, the value gets assigned initially. So if you just comment line number 7 and print it, you should be able to see the output as 11. Okay, so here the value is assigned as well as incremented together. But if you do it for a post increment, your value just gets assigned but not incremented at the point where you use it. So now we'll do one more twist. Now in create one more thing, int j equal to
No,
here itself, yeah, in the after sysout, you can just have int j equal to plus plus I and int k equal to I plus plus. And you can comment that sysout now and just copy it and paste and print j and k values.
values of J and K, right?
Yeah, only j and k.
Still with notepad more. I can use syso, right? Okay.
Just print j plus and then give k. Give in between, give some double quotes, otherwise your value gets added up. Oh, now can you execute? So instead of executing code Java, okay. So what happened here is this time you're assigning your value to variable j. So earlier when we're doing post increment, the value was still 10. But since you're assigning it later point of time, the j value is getting assigned with 11. So both gives you the final output as 11 only. But the way you use it, that matters in the code. So if you're using or assigning it to some variable, your whatever you give, pre-increment or post-increment, your final value is 11. But if you're not using it and implicitly you're giving just plus plus I or plus I plus plus somewhere to just make a count and you're not using that value, but just for your flow purpose or your loop purpose, you're just giving I plus plus, your value will be assigned little later, not immediately as your pre-increment operator does. So that is the only difference. So if you're using explicitly like I plus plus, then your value is still as 10 only. But if you're assigning it to some other variable on your assignment, the value gets changed to 11. So any doubts here? If not, you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Now we'll try with increment and decrement operator. Now initialize one more value. We'll have int A equal to 10. We'll have same thing, int A, just make it a different.
After this is out?
Yeah, I can just type that int A equal to 10. And same thing, just use the same sysout which you have above, right? And make I minus minus and minus minus I. The above sysout, you can just cut and paste it.
Okay, in sysout itself.
Yeah, we are not assigning anything right now. We're just going to see how the decrement and decrement, pre-decrement and post-decrement works. You already have in line number 8, 9, right? Just copy it and replace the plus with minus. Okay, can we execute now? So can someone predict the output first before executing?
10 and 8.
Okay, because you are not assigning your value. So now what we can do is we can assign our values. Okay. You can just assign like int b equal to, after that itself you can do int b equal to a minus minus, int b in c equal to a minus minus a.
Can B and C, right?
Yeah.
So we'll comment all this
So
part.
instead of going there and playing, clicking the play button, what you can do? What happened?
Just
Okay,
commented
just
out
right click on the same editor. I think your A is commented. Your A variable initialized is being commented. That is error. Now can you right click and run as Java application?
So this one, right?
Yeah.
Always save resources before
Yeah.
launch.
So now you can see, since we're using the same value, right? That is the reason when first time it is giving post decrement, your value was 10. And later it was assigned with the value B as 9. And post that you got the value of 8. So any questions or doubts here?
Okay for me.
Okay. So this is the way your increment and decrement works. So what, there's also one more thing, like whenever you're doing some addition of two numbers, right? For example,
Yeah, 1 minute.
yeah, Divya.
In increment operator, it was both the values were 11.
Mm-hmm.
Increment operator after assigning.
Okay.
Now we are doing the same, but why the output is 10 and 8?
So increment, we are doing it in reverse. Like this one, we are pre-incrementing. So when we store it in J, it will automatically increment it and then stored in J. And in K, we are post-incrementing. So it will
Maybe you
still be
can
11.
just do the operation different. Like you can have minus minus A in B and A minus minus in C and execute it again. Just rename the values. So that should work for you.
I didn't get it now.
Yeah, yeah. Just make minus minus A there.
Okay.
And other one make A minus minus. Okay, Divya.
First, it showed 10 and 8.
Yeah, because you're actually doing a A minus minus, sorry, A minus minus first, right?
Okay. A minus minus.
A minus minus, what happens? It's like a post decrement. Your value will not be decremented immediately. After assigning, your value gets decremented. That is the reason you got A as 9 later when you're doing the pre-increment. So that was having 8 as the value.
Last time we got 10 and 8, right?
Yeah, because your A value was not post decremented. So what is the decrement, post decrement does is it will assign the value, but it will not do the operation immediately.
But you said while assigning to B, it will be incremented and as well as assigned, right? For a incrementation operator. Am I clear?
So
During incrementation, you said
Mhm.
while directly printing in sysout, it will be like the output will be different. But
Yeah.
while assigning, it
Basically,
will.
I plus plus or I plus plus or I minus minus, what it does is it will not do the operation which you're doing after I value. It will only assign the I value whatever it is present. Can we print this out in 13 line? Kiruba? So in I right now, if you see I 10, 10 and you're doing pre-increment. Pre-increment will do your value initially itself, right? It will assign as well as do the operation both together. So that is the reason your 10 got as 11 immediately. Now in place of I for 10 after plus plus, if you have just printed it, you would have got only the value of what's 10, right? So you'll get only 10. But right now you're assigning to value k and getting it printed. That is the reason you got as 11.
Yeah, this I understand, Sneha.
Yeah.
Before the correction, minus minus a and a minus minus,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a minus minus and minus minus a, right? B was
Yeah.
a post decremented
Yes.
a.
So if you're doing a minus
that-
minus, your a
okay.
still remains 10. But after doing a pre-decrement, your value has become 9. And immediately what you're doing the operation is pre-decrement of a. So what happens right now, a value is 9. And when you pre-increment one more time, pre-decrement one more time, it becomes 8. So you got a value of 10 and 8.
Okay. Sneha. But while assigning to B, it should be like decremented and assigned, right? I'm asking whether it should be like 9 and 8. Why it is 10 and 8?
Because you're doing the operation on 8 on the variable a, right? So what happens when you're doing, so okay, let us do one more thing. Kirba, we can copy the
Just
signal.
change it, just change that B is equal to A minus minus and C is equal to minus minus A.
Yeah, then you'll get your value what you saw earlier.
That's what I have a doubt.
Yeah, Sneha, like, shall I explain whatever
Yeah,
I
you
know?
can explain. Yeah, if you have idea, you can explain. No issues.
So there is one concept like order of precedence. So just imagine like this: pre-increment has more order of precedence compared to assignment, and then post. So when you come to this line in B is equal to minus minus a, so here pre-increment, right? Sorry, pre-decrement, right? So
Yeah.
pre has more precedence compared to assignment. So what it does is it first decrease the value of a, like minus minus a you can interpret as a is equal to a minus 1. So what it does is it just decreases the value by 1 and then stores in a, and then it assigns to b. So now the value would be 9. In b the value would be 9. So this is what happens here. And when it comes to this line c, so assignment has more precedence compared to post decrement. So it just assigns the value. So it does c is equal to 9, and then it does the decrement. A is equal to a minus 1. So what it does is it stores a is equal to 9 minus 1, 8. So if you print a after this, you will get 8 as a value. So you get how this works, right? Or still getting confused?
A minus minus, that is post decrement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
post decrement.
Post decrement. Okay. But we got 9 and 9, right? Output.
No,
Yeah.
no, we got
So
10
if
and
you
8.
see the
No, this program we
No, no.
got 9
Yeah,
and 9.
this part we got 9 and 9. So you see C is equal to 9 here, right?
Your
Yeah.
assignment has high
But
precedence.
A will be 8. You're telling A will be 8.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
at the
you use
end,
8 again, A again in some other place, you'll have it as 8. But right now, C is getting assigned with whatever A has. So in the in the line number 16, the B is right now assigned with A value of 9. So when it comes to the next line 17, the C will still have the A as only 9 because assignment has more precedence. That is the reason you'll have only 9 and the operation happens later. By the time C has already got the value of 9.
Okay.
Completely okay, or still you have questions?
this might be difficult to understand initially, but you need to try out some snippets.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Then only you will get some idea of this one.
Kriba, one time can you show that B is equal to post decrement and C is equal to pre decrement?
So I will do this and explain you once, and then we will run and see the output. Is that fine?
Yeah.
This out.
So Sneha, like wherever we use the increment or decrement, A value also will get automatically gets changed, right? Like even though we assign to B or C.
Yeah. If you like Kirva, after 19th line, you can just have sys out of A. That can help
even
them
in
know the
line
value of
16.
A and what is getting assigned to B and C.
So this one I will explain. So initially the value of A is equal to 10, and we are coming to this line number 16. So you see B is equal to A minus minus. So here it is post decrement, which has less order of precedence compared to assignment. So assignment happens first. So B is equal to 10 happens first, and then A minus minus. So A will be 9 at the end of this line number 16. When you come to line number 17, you have pre-decrement, so which has more order of precedence than assignment. So what it does is it first decreases the value of A. A is equal to 9 minus 1, which is 8, and then it reduces then it assigns a value to C. C is equal to 8. So when you try to print the values of B and C, B will be 10 and C will be 8. So I will execute this. Yeah. So from
Finally,
here,
the A has a value of 8.
8.
Okay. Okay. Clear, Sneha. Clear, Kirupa. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kirba.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll do a few snippets. So maybe we can rejoin the second invite and we'll try a few snippets using the order of precedence, which comes like I thought of to do later. Anyway, he started. So I'll come up with a few other operations, like how the brackets work when you're doing multiple operations together, either in your if loop or to any particular operation. We'll cover up that as well now. So can you all join the second invite? We'll continue there.
Yeah. Okay.